Today we're going to review the Alvarez ABT60CE8 8-string baritone guitar. It's sold by Alvarez Company. You can find it online, all your retailers. And it retails for $629.99 most places. You can find it on eBay, occasionally used, or any of the online marketplaces. It does not come with a case. And that is something that some of the people online have complained about, because apparently it's difficult to find a case that's a hard shell case that's large enough to fit that guitar. It is a large guitar. It's a very large body. It's the extended baritone scale, and that makes it a little difficult to find a hard shell case apparently. I have a soft shell case that I found it's a large case, but it seems to fit it fine. So it's not impossible to find a case, but that's one of the complaints that I saw online. Fit and finish, it's a very well put together guitar, no real flaws to speak of. I'll go through a few minor complaints that I've found. For the price, it is a pretty good deal. For that price point, it plays very well. It sounds pretty good. These come in two colors. There's a black version, which I have, and that, ignore the vinyl sticker there, does not come with the guitar. There is I forget the color, it's a brown, like a sunburst brownish red color. You can find next to that, but this is the black version. Very well in terms of fit and finish. One thing, I use strap locks on pretty much all my guitars, and I had to replace the strap pins with the strap lock pin, and the screw that comes with the pin is a lot smaller than the strap locks that I use, so I had to re-drill the hole. Not a huge deal. The pins, I prefer the one on the neck. I prefer it in the heel of the guitar, not at the back like they have it. I prefer it on the heel. When I'm standing and playing, if I have it on the back, it tends to sit very flat. And again, this is totally a personal preference thing. I prefer it to sit a little bit tilted back when I'm playing. Again, it's just a personal preference. I can easily drill another hole if I want to. It's not that big of a deal. The back, if you're using strap locks, you'll have to get one of these adapters, because the one that comes with it, this is just unscrews, and then you replace it with this thing you can find on Amazon for the strap lock system. It's a pretty large body, and it's a fairly large guitar. I find it much more comfortable to play sitting down than standing, just because the body's so large. And again, this is going to be a totally personal preference thing. When I'm standing, I find my arm is in a different position than I'm normally used to, and I find it more comfortable to play sitting down. Again, totally personal preference. If you're a larger person, taller, it may not be an issue. With my other guitars, I have the strap lock on the heel of the neck that puts it in a little bit different playing angle. Maybe that's why I prefer playing it sitting down. Again, not a huge deal, but it is a very large guitar. So if you're a small person, be prepared. It's a pretty big, beefy body. A couple of things, the tuners. There's a few tuners like the what would be the A string on a normal guitar. It's very tight in terms of the tuner. So again, they're not, I don't know what brand they are, maybe made by Alvarez, but there's a couple of them that are just not that easy to turn. You turn it and it goes really sharp or really flat, and it takes a little tweaking. They're not as smooth as some of the other tuners. Like, for instance, I have the Go-Tos on some of my other guitars that I really like, that are very smooth and very easy to tune. These are not quite as smooth, but not a big deal. The sound of a baritone in open B, so they're tuned B to B. Most of the time I wind up putting the capo on the second fret, which puts it, that would be capoed at like a C sharp. Full baritone B to B, it tends to get a little muddy. You're just strumming. again, it's all preference, but I've found I tend to use it when there's a song that I would normally play on a regularly tuned acoustic guitar that is just a little high for my vocals. So I'll put a capo on the second fret of the baritone, which effectively would be like tuning down your standard guitar. So 3 half steps down from a standard tuning. If you tried to take a regular acoustic guitar and tune it down 3 steps, you without adjusting the neck, the tension on the neck, maybe the truss rod, it's gonna be very jangly, and the strings gonna be very loose, and it's not gonna sound very good. With the baritone, you're just you're capoing it up just a couple of steps, and I find it's a sweet spot for me and for my vocals. Totally personal preference. One thing I've found is for fingerstyle guitar, it's a little hard getting used to. It's kind of like playing fingerstyle guitar with a 12 string. It takes a little getting used to, but it's not that bad at all. But that brings me to the string spacing in the back. It's just a little bit off. Not a big deal, but that's, in terms of fit and finish, that's one flaw, I guess, is that there's one of the spacings is larger proportionate to the spacings between the other strings, and maybe that's a little bit with the finger style that it throws me off. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in terms of the string spacing, and I'm hoping I can get close enough to show you this. So if you look at from the bottom strings, you're at roughly 10 millimeters. I guess that's about a centimeter between the first and second strings. And if you go from the second to roughly the middle of the next set, you're a little off, but you're roughly about a centimeter. Then you go from the middle of the next strings to the middle of that second doubled string, you're at about a centimeter. Now when I go from the middle, you're way off, right? So the gap between these 2 strings is a lot bigger than the rest of them. And if I go to this last one, again, we're at about a centimeter of space there. But then between these 2, you're just what would be the G string, it's just off. This needs to come over some. You could get a luthier to redo the slots or replace this nut or bridge completely, or you could just recut where the strings sit. So that's the only, in terms of finish, that's the biggest problem. And again, it's not that noticeable, but I think just kind of adjusted to it. But that is one of the big things that I found in terms of a flaw in this guitar. And maybe this is the only one I played, so I don't know if that's a common, like a manufacturing thing, or if maybe other ones don't have that issue. I was trying to find a good way to compare the size. So the one on the left is a Taylor, what is the Grand Auditorium size, and a standard acoustic. So the scale length is going to be a standard acoustic scale, whereas this is the baritone. So you can see the neck's obviously a little bit longer. The body is quite a bit larger. I don't know how easy it is to tell from just sitting next to each other. But the body on the baritone is a little over 16 and a half, maybe 16, 16 and 3/4, whereas the Taylor comes in at like 15 and 3/4. Roughly. And then the length is about 20 and a half, and the length on the Taylor is like 19 and 3/4. Just to give you a little bit of an idea on the size difference. And then the depth of the bodies seems about the same. It's not too much thicker. So especially for the price, I think it's a really good deal for a baritone. Some of the ones that, I was looking at the Taylor baritones, and you're looking at a couple $1,000s. It's a very specific sound. Currently, I'm using it for 2 or 3 songs out of the 40 that we play. I would encourage you to try and find one at your local guitar store and play it and see how it feels, see how it sounds, play some of the stuff you would think you would use it for. I think it's a really good deal, despite a few flaws. For the price point of that guitar, I think it's a really good deal. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this useful. I'll see you next time.